Welcome to Story Route Zero.
This is a podcast where friends gather to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the strange worlds of video games. We often don't know where we're going, but that's half the fun. Come on the journey with us. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute0. You can send us an email at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. That includes questions, concerns, comments, complaints, pet pics. Send us some recipes. Send us some stories about your day. We're going to listen.
Podcast, start your engines. We have liftoff. Let's have a journey.
And he told me to push, and he made me feel well, and he told me to leave that vision of hell to the dying. My name is Matthew Keel. This is Story Route Zero, episode 74. I might be wrong.
Got it.
I got it. Sweet. Broken clocks right twice a day. That voice is Jason Marshall. The lyrics were Belle and Sebastian, their song Nobody's Empire, off of Girls in Peacetime Just Want to Dance. And we also have two other friends with us. A Rhode Island pothole now. I can't think of anything different since the last time I did it. She's in new digs, everybody. And it looks nice. Michaela, how's the new place?
The new place is great. It is 99% set up, so.
Cool. Can't beat 99%. I don't know.
Quickly, that's quick for having moved.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Damn, it would have took me forever.
I
Anyways.
Help, so.
Oh, that's good.
I moved into this place like 4 years ago, and there's still shit I have packed up. So
I have one box that's still packed.
What I've got
Achiever.
I've got thousands of CDs and at least a couple thousand movies in boxes that will probably never make it to shelves at this point.
If we have any younger viewers, they're like, CDs, what are those?
Yeah.
CDs are so retro. How are you guys? I was sick last week. And I'm still, if you can't tell in my voice, I still kind of have it. Let's just say kids passing off colds might as well be throwing a nuclear football at this point. I know I am a 41-year-old man, and this is basically a complete bitch fest because men getting sick are pussies. I just said it, and I stand by it. I've worked in healthcare. And the tougher the man is, the bitchier they are, let me tell you. Enough about that. How was your guys' weekend?
Pretty good. Relaxing. Got to just enjoy the gaming news.
Yeah. It was
What's that like?
It was just nice. Just all the announcements. I found one. The PR for Super Rare Games. He did. Shout out to. Why am I drawing a blank? Michaela, it's Ryan something.
Oh crap, Ryan.
I'll look it up. But he basically created a thread for every show, and it was so organized like that.
Ryan Brown.
It was just so cool. It made it so much easier because sometimes I don't want to watch the shows because there's too much filler on some of these shows. And it was just easier just seeing the announcements pour in and then watch the one I want, skip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was nice.
Yeah.
We had decent weather, not too hot, not too cold.
Cool. Moose, Michaela, how's your weekends?
Did a thing.
Yeah.
It was a long weekend. It was quite literally a long
say.
weekend. It was busy. I took Thursday, Friday off. So I started moving on Thursday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday were the biggest, heaviest days. for it. So like the movers dropped my shit here on Thursday, and so I was unpacking Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday the new furniture I bought, which is like this table, and I got a new coffee table and end tables. That stuff got delivered. So by the end of Saturday, I was mostly set up in my nice new space that I am very much loving. It's more
Nice.
it's more spacious. It's bigger than I was expecting. I was kind of worried my furniture would all be on top of each other. Not the case. And
So it's good.
yeah, it's good. My parents helped me very much to move, especially my mom. She was the MVP. Emery kept going to Target. She's like, "Ooh, you need this. Ooh, you need this," and then she would just show up here at my door with more shit. So, God bless Anne Marie.
Shout out to the parents of memory.
Yes. Oh God.
Very nice. Very nice.
That was a good one. That's a good one, guys. You win.
I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good one.
That's
I
the
did not
show
make
title.
enough whiskey. I need more.
That's the shit.
Okay, not enough alcohol in the world for that. Okay. I watched the women's
You'll remember. No, that's not gonna work.
No. I watched the Women's College World Series,
Nice.
which ended up being between Oklahoma, the 1 seed, and Florida State, the 10 seed. Florida State took the first game, and then Oklahoma smashed them in the face until it was over.
Was it best as? It wasn't a best of 7, was it?
No, it's a best of
Okay.
5.
Best of
No.
5. Okay, at least it was that. It's
No,
goodness sake.
actually, it might actually only be best of 3. I forget. They won.
Okay.
It's short. I think it might be shorter than usual this year. I feel like the season was still kind of altered and funky with COVID and everything. At least there was a season this year, unlike last year where there was Zippo. But yeah, that was great to watch. I love watching softball. Softball and football are the only 2 sports I really like to watch besides the Olympics. Yeah, I moved. I watched some softball. I watched some E3 as well. And Jason was my MVP as well. So 2 MVPs, my mom for the moving and Jason for the game. So obviously Thursday was my first day moving in here. I did not have internet yet. The one tricky thing that about my living room I had to do is the outlet for the coax cables on the wrong wall. So my dad and I had to run like a coax cable around the perimeter of the room. So that became a late night project. So I did not have Wi-Fi in time for Summer Game Fest, and Jason texted me a blow by blow, which was very nice of him.
GG,
keeping me up to date. But yeah, so it was a E3 moving softball weekend. Not much of the relaxing to speak of, but I persisted. I am here. And I'm very ready for next weekend, so I can collapse a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm not doing shit. Just like feeding myself and like just hanging out. Do a little gaming, do a little relaxing. That's what I would do after that big move.
I haven't done any gaming with my new gaming setup yet, so that will be tomorrow. Probably will be my first gaming day. I could have done it yesterday, but I decided to toughen up and write just a couple quick articles about E3 for Obelisk.
Nice. Moose, I don't remember if you went or anything.
I didn't. It was a bachelor's weekend. My wife went to an estate auction with her sister Saturday. And so I did a crap ton of gaming. I am caught. Well, so we did the book the backlog Monday. So played a bit of that to try and finish it up. And then lots of gaming, like WoW, pretty much a lot of WoW. And then caught up on, I watched a lot of the shows live, and then just watched Twitch too. So it was a very relaxing weekend. I was going to mow, but then my grass wasn't, it was like, it's not really, long enough to justify cutting right now. So I'll just wait. And then I was going to do it tonight, and then it rained. So had some good weather. So that was nice. Yeah, it's a good week.
Cool.
You?
So the Euros started on Friday, and for those who don't know what the Euros is, it's the European Soccer Championships. It's kind of like March Madness, where except well, yeah, it's kind of like March Madness, but it comes around every 4 years. European nations get together, and I think this year is the first time there's 32 teams in it. But I realized this Saturday morning while I was at work. So I've been kind of binging my own brand of football all weekend. I tried to get up for the E3 stuff, but over the past week being sick, and my head's just not been in it, and I can't really explain why. But the couple of things I did actually make it through, like I will speak to this. I did watch all of Devolver, and I think theirs is really good, despite, I mean, because it leans into its own bullshit. Like they lean into the silliest aspects of this hobby and this industry to a point where I can see why people don't like them, because I mean, like so many gamers are very bad at self-examination, and it's well, maybe it's not that they're bad at it, but they look in the mirror and it bothers them that they're like that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to give you medical advice, but sometimes a lot of our problems are inward, and Devolver tends to point at that in a really cool way every time with their press conferences. Especially half of the time in that particular one where they're like, yeah, you're going to buy all these games and you don't even like them, but you have to be part of the conversation because you have to have something to say. It was kind of brilliant. And it was, maybe that was it. Maybe I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to do this, but this is interesting. Other than that, like I watched a few movies. I watched a Marx Brothers classic called Horse Feathers, which centers around them fixing a football game, which is great for, the 1930s. I watched Reba and I watched Into the Spider-Verse last night, which as someone who doesn't really care for the modern superhero stuff, Into the Spider-Verse is easily part of the vanguard of that style. Like that and probably Black Panther are the ones that have brought me in and kept my attention, where like I haven't seen Endgame, I haven't seen most of the modern MCU thing, and frankly I look at that and it's just kind of exhausting. Also been listening to a ton of music, but I feel like if I get started on that, I'll probably bore a lot of folks. So music is cool. You should listen to it. That's all I'm going to say. What do you say we talk about... actually, Michaela, have you even played anything?
No, sir, but all I did was buy stuff and download stuff. Technically, okay, hold on. I got a platinum this week, but I didn't play anything. Because I transferred my save data to the PS5 for Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, look at you.
So I got a free platinum.
Hey.
So I didn't play anything.
At least it's not Shapesgate 2015, all right?
Yep. So yeah.
Because you still haven't pulled the trigger.
It's exactly Shapesgate.
It's not.
It's exactly that.
It's literally Shapesgate. She didn't play it. She said it.
Yeah, she didn't play it. When we did that stupid trophy contest, I opened up Sound Shapes to play it and platinum it, and all of the trophies went. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good.
Sure he did.
And then fucking Gideon lost his mind. He's like, well, I see what you did there.
I think he was watching it more than me and Phillips.
He was.
Anyways.
Yeah, no. So I didn't play anything, but I did buy some stuff and I downloaded some stuff. So obviously I downloaded FF7 on my PS5. I've got the DLC. I just have not had time to play it yet. I got that platinum. I downloaded a demo for a game we'll talk about later, but it is not playable currently, so I didn't play it. Downloaded the Scarlet Nexus demo. Haven't played that yet. And then I went to GameStop because I needed to reward myself for a successful move. And I picked up Ratchet and Clank and Returnal because I'm irresponsible and can't go into a GameStop and only buy one thing.
All right. Okay.
I mean, that's
I think that's more.
Shit, that's why.
I think that's normal. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
considered.
Yeah, I don't think
Technically,
that's like.
technically, it wasn't full price. I bought it pre-owned. And
Okay.
GameStop, when you do one
So-
new game, one
so-
pre-owned
yeah.
game.
So it definitely wasn't irresponsible because you had the mindset to purchase.
Buy it
cheaper.
pre. Yeah, there you go. See?
Look at that.
We're gonna
See?
justify that.
now it's irresponsible if you walked in and you're like, not going to look at the used games, not going to look at the used games, not going to look at the used. Oh, look, there's used games. That's irresponsible.
No, what I did was I went and I looked to see if they had Ratchet and Clank on the shelves, which they didn't.
Mhm.
And which it's a couple days after release. They had it in. It was still in their pre-order section,
Sure.
even though it was 2 days later. And I looked and I saw Returnal and I picked it up and it was a pre-owned copy. And a GameStop employee happened to be shelving shit right next to me at the time, and he went hard trying to sell me on it. He's like, if you like Dark Souls, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And I was like, I came in here already 80% sure I was gonna buy this, but you're working so hard for it. I'm just gonna, you know what, we're gonna get Returnal.
You should be like, hey, you know who I am, and then pulled out your phone with a clip of you singing "It's beginning to look a lot like Dark Souls."
Yeah, see? There we go.
Excuse me, sir, I am a gamer. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
this guy, he went above and beyond though. Usually sometimes like, especially as a girl, when I walk into a GameStop, I always expect at least one bro to try to game-splain at me.
Sure.
It generally happens. This guy was just so earnest. He's like, this is awesome. This game was great. I'm like, you know what? I already wanted it. You just showed your passion for it. I'm going to buy it. Then I asked him, like, do you have Ratchet and Clank? He's like, yep, let me go get you a copy. It's behind the cash register. And I was like, awesome. And then I also locked in pre-orders for Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise.
Yeah, Tales of Arise and Scarlet Nexus
And-
is real dope. If I can get the money right, I'm gonna probably pre-order both of them. Go ahead, Jason.
Can we just? Can you invite him on the show so he can explain to me how Returnal's for Dark Souls? You know what?
Don't do it. Don't. Stop.
You know what?
Stop.
I didn't. I started talking about roguelites, and he was just all up on it. And I was like, you know what? He's just so excited. He has no idea
you
what
know
he's
what?
talking about.
He was excited. And you bought it, so you know what? His job was done. He could have
His
been
job
like,
was done.
if you really like Madden and NBA, get this.
No, and then he started asking me, what else have you played on the PS5? And of course, I just went list of JRPGs. He's like, we're gonna be best friends, and I was like, I'll be back.
Nice.
Matt, did you play anything?
I did. I did manage to fire up something new other than Binding of Isaac. I fired up
Not that
Crusade.
there's anything wrong with that.
No, exactly. But Binding of Isaac is the albatross around my neck, and I recognize it, and I'm still having fun with it despite it being oh so mean to me lately. But I started playing Crusader Kings 3. Now this is one of those reasons that I wanted it to have a PC to play games on, because I have spent more time reading about Crusader Kings as a series and a game over the past I don't know how many years, and the way that stories tend to come about from Crusader Kings is fascinating. But having never played it in the past, it is 100% a lot, if not too much. So the game looks like basically a risk board that is predominantly old Europe. You can look at most of the world, I believe, takes place in the Middle Ages, but you can pick a ruler of some sort. Not like, you don't have to be a king. You could be just like at the rank of a duke or a vassal of some sort to a ruler. And then it's about maintaining your lineage and making sure that over the course of time, you have to try and gain titles and have children and secure them, because when your character eventually dies because time is undefeated, and you next start playing as the highest ranking heir that you have brought forth into that world. And this shit is fucking fascinating. My first character, I think I just did the tutorial. They start you in Ireland, which is, I don't want to say it's easy, but it seems to be a way to, you're looking at the island of Ireland. There's not a ton to look at in terms of like, you're not inundated with multiple different kingdoms and political intrigue and everything. It gets you used to the stats and used to looking at information to make things happen. But I ended up to a point where I took over the northernmost chunk of Ireland and the southernmost chunk of Ireland. And there's this middle stripe that I just could not get a foothold in. But I noticed anybody that seemed to be going to war was going through that chunk. And I'm like, you know what? They're going through. They're not really bothering me. I'm okay with this. But I was trying. I basically got to a point where I had, I think, 5 or 6 kids, married them all off, but I didn't really pay attention to what any of those marriages meant for future me, because when my character, so one of the things, if you want to know kind of what happens in Crusader Kings, Google the story from Kotaku, Crusader Kings 3 as told by Steam reviews. And that is basically the best way to understand Crusader Kings, because you'll get the first few where it's like, oh, it's completely condensed. It's so much easier to digest this time out. And then you scroll down a few and it's like, well, I'm 4 hours in and I'm going to try and have sex with the Pope. By the way, the Pope is bisexual. This is Crusader Kings. Or I'm 4 hours in, I've killed my brother-in-law and I'm going to take his wife, which is my sister. Wish me luck. Or I'm a few hours in and I've already created an incestuous death cult. Welcome to Crusader Kings. Like these things. And my first character I created, I lasted long enough for my son to marry his daughter and hope to maintain a title. And I'm like, I think I'm playing Crusader Kings right. Because Crusader Kings has a lot in common with Dwarf Fortress, where you don't actually control much. It's kind of like you're pushing against the simulation and trying to influence. You're trying to influence a water balloon the size of a Cadillac, where it's kind of immovable, but if you push it, you'll slowly get momentum happening. Because you don't really control character. I mean, I went to a couple of wars. I was, undefeated in wars, but they did nothing for me because I didn't pay attention to the consequences of them. I was just trying to get the mechanics right. And the wars, basically, you see one giant figure walking across the map, and then you see 2 figures fight. It almost looks like the Black Knight fight in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, without the arms chopping off, which is sadly kind of missed. But I started it and I lost like 6 hours immediately to like trying to wrap my head around this game. And this is one of the most fascinating new experiences I've had in a while. And I've gone back once since, and when my character died, I took over the role of my eldest daughter, or my eldest surviving daughter, because I think my son was murdered. I think he was murdered for.
She married him off to the wrong person, man. You weren't paying attention.
I think I married him off, but then he decided to have sex with his daughter, and then that was a murder. Someone
Damn.
didn't like that, and had to exact a certain kind of revenge. Or
I would feel like if you
I would
knew, you'd
imagine a
be
lot of people
like,
didn't like
I
that.
need to kill him.
But see, like you get prompts for this, but there's really at that once they're adults, you kind of have no choice. You're like, well, this is what it is. Like it's not like it's not like you can hit a rewind button and try and redo things, and that's kind of the beauty of it.
Crusader Kings, like those stupid riddles that old people post on Facebook. I'm your granddaughter's, but I'm also your daughter-in-law, but I'm the mother of your great-grandchild. Who am I?
Yeah, I mean, and then I started thinking,
new.
yes, but this instead of being on a banjo, it is played by a bard on a lute, so it is medieval. But this game is cool. I know that this is probably going to be one of those things that only I, at least among this crew, that only I ever really play, and maybe I'll have one story where I talk about it for a very long time. But eventually I died. I took control of my eldest daughter, and her reign basically evaporated. We didn't do any, like, she and I didn't do anything to like piss anybody off. As a father, I did poorly. I didn't put my children in a very good position for my legacy. So that's on me, but I need to learn that's kind of like the first time I've had to try and think like that. And when you're engaging with just walls of systems, you can miss a few details. But I eventually I started another character in Sicily, where my mom's family's from. I'm like, I'll try this, see what's happening. And I'm already saying, okay. I'm already saying like, okay, who in power has an okay opinion of me, and what can I do to make them feel better about me? And how can I get my kids in a better position? Basically, how do I get I'm basically, essentially, I'm Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman trying to get my kids into universities poorly. See, you're shaking your head. Jason, you're looking, but like that's what Crusader Kings is.
I think I need more whiskey to do the rest of the show.
And that's fine. I'll give you time. Go ahead.
Let's do it. Like, put it on pause.
Yeah, go get it. Go get it. I'll find things to talk about.
I'm doing it.
Oh God, we know he will.
But ultimately, that's kind of what Crusader Kings feels like. But I think because it's not a push this button to be better or interact with the system directly to make things go wild, that's sort of the fascinating part. So I'm going to keep pushing at this system and see what I can do with it when time presents itself. Yeah, I really like it. It is one of the more fascinating things I've played in the past few years.
Excellent.
So yeah, like ultimately of course I would love this game because I loved Blaze Ball. Like that's essentially like that's the kind of storytelling you get from this. And plus seeing your own murder plot go off without a hitch, something special about that. There is. And frankly, in my new character, I'm right near the Pope, and he's trying to step on toes. He's doing his level best to piss off everybody around him. I think he started 2 wars in the very recent past, so I might have to clap the Vatican, y'all.
Not with that.
This has been reminding me of a book called Heir Apparent. that captures this zany RPG-ness where there's just random shit that happens and there's really like stuff can go off the rails. And then when you bring in the Pope, it reminds me of Hellsing, which I've told you guys about before. But Matt, I think you should, if you ever get into an anime mood and you're looking for something, try Hellsing Ultimate. And the
Well,
Pope,
it's already in my queue, dear. I paid attention. I listen to you. I'm bad at remembering stuff, but I do listen. But speaking of anime, there was an anime I recently binged called Record of Lodoss War, and this ties in. I'm not going to go off on a rant, but it's kind of like a bunch of. No, yeah, I know Dealicina reviewed it for Waypoint, but that was the reason I watched it. But Record of Lodoss War is essentially if a bunch of people decided to make an anime based on some really epic D&D quests that they had in a tabletop RPG, because that's what it feels like. That's how the characters sound, and that's kind of its charm. If someone, I mean, Game of Thrones in a lot of ways kind of comes off as some batshit Crusader Kings stuff. Now that I am looking at it, just, I mean, you know, I'm happy that I survived, that my first character survived long enough to see his grandson commit incest. Like, just like, yeah, that's a Crusader Kings win in my book, just because of how much I've read about it. But I could totally see, like, if someone decided to make an anime off of some weird Crusader King shit, that would totally be my jam. I believe we are to Moose or Jason.
Moose.
I'll go real quick. Lots of WoW. So that's been
Wow.
fun. I mean, playing that paladin, rocking and rolling Retribution, doing them transmog runs. And then I got stuck in a raid where it's not so many expansions back, so I don't have enough DPS to kill the third to the last boss before they melt me. I'm just like, all right, well. So anyways, playing a lot of that. And then Golf Story. So we talked about that last week, and this week I am literally on the last hole that I have to play. Well, not the last hole, but the last round of golf, last 9 holes I have to play, the last course. That's the word I was looking for. And it keeps screwing me, so I have to keep restarting. So I'm hoping to finish it soon. And I was talking to Jason with it, I think to Jason about it last week and after the show. And it's got a lot of cool mechanics that I really like. There's a part where there's a section of the game where you actually have to attack somebody with like hitting them with the ball, so you have to be pretty precise and whatnot. And I'm like, I like that. I like how they work that in. I feel like it would have been cool if they could have worked more of that in, because it's technically an RPG, but I understand how they can't, because it's like it fits real well with the section of the game that you go to. So like you get there and you're like, okay, this makes sense when you're figuring out what you have to do. But and then like I also realized like you don't, like, you are actually grinding legit experience when you are playing the courses, like not like game experience, but like knowledge of the course, because like it, like you have to learn like your wind, you have to figure out where your bunkers are, and you're like, yes, I would rather bury myself in that bunker than drop in the water, because then that's an extra stroke and I don't need that because I'm trying to get, you know, under par. And so it's just a lot of fun. I think that's why I'm having a lot of trouble. What's really funny is when I played this is the second time I'm playing the last course that I need to play, and I did really well on that, and now it's like terrible, and I'm like, what the heck? And so it's just going to be a while, I feel, before I knock this out. But Jason and I were talking about like what I should do next. I was like, man, I was like, I kind of want to do like a newer game, and so I'm along the lines of like rotating new and old. So I have Narita Boy that I have to play, which I just got recently. So I was like, I think I'll hop on that and then decide like an older game to go back to. I know I've talked about the Tours before, so I think those are probably going to be my next 2 games. As far as my Switch goes, I haven't touched the PS4 in forever, which I do need to do. I need to get back to Mass Effect. I haven't touched that, but like WoW has been all consuming just because I have stuff to do. Like I haven't hit the point like Jason has, where it's just like, I can get on every once in a while and have fun with it. Like, I still have things that I need to technically do. Also, patch 9.1 is coming out soon, which I am only like, I'm between 37. I'm like 37 or 38 renown with my covenant, and I need to be 40 before the patch drops, because at 45 we get flight. So I don't want to be fighting that uphill battle before the patch comes out. So I'm trying to also push to get max level renown with my covenant. But yeah, so it's pretty much what I've been doing. So a lot of shit, Jesus.
Regarding Golf Story, did you see the rap battle yet?
Yes, which is awesome and amazing. Yeah, so I thought that was really funny, and I thought that was cool that they put that in. Yeah, I it is a lot longer than I thought it would be, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. But I mean, but because when I first played it and then stopped, I just played the first course like infinitely.
Yeah.
And just had like so much experience and so much money. Like I leveled up at least like 20 times before I moved on. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's pretty inventive, isn't it?
Yes. I recommended it a lot last week, even more so this week. Like it should be on your Switch. If you own a Switch, it should be on your Switch and you should be playing it for multiple reasons. Interesting story. It's got good gameplay. There's multiplayer if you want to play somebody else, which I think is just local.
We're all local.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, but, I was sitting there like, I don't think that's wrong. I think that's fine.
But yeah, good game.
Jason.
I rolled credits on Biomutant.
Goaty.
It's up there.
So far, or no?
Yeah, no, it's up there.
Okay.
And I also rolled credits on Ratchet and Clank.
Go on.
It's an excellent game. Visually, probably the best I've played on PS5. I mean, it's like, it really is playing a Pixar film. Like, I still can't believe they were able to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
Not a perfect game. There are some issues. The whole rift mechanic, they definitely oversold it. And you play as, everyone knows, you play as Rivet and Ratchet.
Yeah.
They're the same, other than their dialogue and look. There's no discernible, like, they play the same. There's play styles. They use the same weapons. So I wish they kind of did more with that. Like, if you did one thing with Ratchet, like, there's so many weapons in game. They could have, like, oh, Rivet has these, Ratchet has these. Because it's a Ratchet and Clank game. You get, like, we're talking, like, Borderlands level of weapons available.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Mm-hmm. But besides those two things, I actually didn't take the game out. Like, I put it in rest mode, went back. Like, I never closed. I didn't see the title screen until I rolled credits.
Nice.
7 trophies shy of the platinum, so I'll go back and get that. 12. I had 12 hours played. So, if you skipped all the cinematics, you'd be under 10. I don't know why you would. It just seems odd for a game like that. But I definitely recommend. I mean, although the haptic feedback could be a bit much, as Moose can attest. Like, when you have a Gatling gun, Moose could hear it through my microphone. Like, it was just, like, rumbling. And I wasn't leaning on anything. Like, he literally, like, it sounds like the controller's, like, going to have mechanical failure.
It did. He's like, can you hear that? I'm like, yes, I can. It's not annoying, but I can hear it.
It was like, I can't stop unless I use a different weapon. But, I mean, everything I'm still amazed by how it looked. It played great. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And you know what? After 12 hours, I don't think it needed to be longer. I think it would have dragged at that point. I think
One thing I'll say is I haven't seen anybody complaining about the game's length. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with those short games that are full price, usually somebody starts a narrative of like, oh, whatever, this game shouldn't, but I haven't seen any of that negativity. People are just enjoying the game.
Yeah, I think it took me by surprise when I saw the Power Picks trophy guide and it said 10 hours. And I'm like, platinum, geez. But I don't know how, unless you skipped every cinematic and had a guide, I don't see how you hit 10 hours. Or you're just incredibly lucky, or just you're one of those people who always find secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably another hour or two and I'll have the platinum, but there's New Game Plus actually with challenge mode, which I haven't checked out, but yeah, I really enjoyed my time. So I got to roll credits on 2 games this week.
Well done, sir.
So hopefully by next week I have both platinums in Biomutant and Ratchet.
Hopefully by next week I get to start one of them.
And that's it. Want to talk about the news?
Yeah. It's a good time of the year.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
everyone,
it's
buckle up.
the gamingest time of the year.
Please raise your hand if you'd like to input anything.
Okay.
We're going to start off with some simple news before we go into conferences. After 5 years, Overwatch is getting crossplay. It only took till the announcement of Overwatch 2, but it is now getting crossplay, which is pretty cool. Still got a massive fan base, so that's kind of cool.
Better late than never.
Fallout 76 is, I didn't write this, Michaela, is literally nuking their battle royale. It is ending in September. I wish I wrote that.
See, you know what? Jason, I'm going to say this.
But you didn't change it.
That's not, you're too smart for that. You would have made a better, you would have done better.
Okay, thank you.
I believe in you.
I don't.
And
no, I'm not saying he wouldn't have done a pun. He would have definitely done a pun.
She's saying she still doesn't believe in his pun. Like,
yeah, but she hates puns.
She doesn't hate puns.
Oh yeah, she does.
She just hates bad ones, which
is 99% of puns.
I mean, give me a good one.
I can't.
That's true.
I mean, why doesn't a T-Rex go to the gym? Because it makes him dinosaur. I mean, there's really not a good pun. You're welcome, Jason. You're welcome, Jason.
Jedi Fallen Order got the PS5 upgrade
Health treatment.
And I didn't realize this is the first game offering disc to digital for free. So if you own the PS4 disc version, you can, I guess it comes up in the store and you can redeem it digitally, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
I'm sorry, but I completely missed the name of the game that you just said. I'm sorry.
Fallen Order. Jedi.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
before you get to conferences, is Monarch before conferences?
Yeah, that one technically is.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah. Michaela, any thoughts? I'm pretty sure you and I are the only two here.
Yeah, so for the listeners at home, Monarch is I think we briefly mentioned this last week's episode. It is a new school RPG coming from Shin Megami Tensei vets who are no longer at Atlas. They have their own studio now. I don't remember the name of the studio, Matt, do you?
I do not.
I don't remember, but obviously their own venture. It still looks very high school AU, dungeon crawly, dark, teenage JRPG craziness. We do know that the game will be localized. NIS America, I think, is the one who's going to be helping to bring that westward as they usually do. They have a great relationship with most of those publishers over there and the developers. So not surprising there. I believe it is targeting next year for worldwide release. It won't be simultaneous.
I think it says launches in October. But that's
For
the
Japan.
headline.
Yeah, for Japan.
Yeah, that's just the headline. So
yeah, so next year we'll have our hands on it, I believe, is the projection. Depends on how long localization takes, but October for Japan.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at an Engadget article, and it does not say the developer or anything. So
yeah, it looks dark. It looks freaky. It definitely looks SMT-ish. So yeah, TBD. Looks exciting.
yeah, looks good.
Fury U or Fury U, that's the name of the developer.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're basically insert former Shin Megami Tensei developer people in new studio.
Well, we had the Indie Live Expo, which we kind of mentioned last week. Links will be in the description. It's over 5 hours long. I mean, they actually separated. There were 6 waves, so you can watch it. I would highly recommend, even if you don't use Steam, open a Steam account if you don't have one. And you can wishlist 90% of these just for the sheer fact that you can't wishlist them on Nintendo yet or PlayStation if they're a year out. So just to save you the trouble of, that way you can have it all in one spot. And if you do have Steam, a lot actually have demos for some of these.
Oh, cool.
We got Guerrilla Collective. There was 2 days of this. Again, go to Twitch, watch the recent broadcast. There were like 8 hours of this. It was absurd. There's so much indie coverage this E3. It really was. East Asia Soft had a mini show. There was like 10 announcements. Nothing really screamed out to me. I don't know if we now know what Playdate is. It is a new handheld. It's $179. It's like browser based, but we're getting games from developers who made Katamari and Graceful Explosion Machine.
Cool.
We got the Battlefield 2042 reveal and gameplay reveal, which was in the Xbox, but October 22nd, 128 players in matches. No campaign, though, so it's strictly multiplayer.
Cheap stuff. Hell yeah.
Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest was a lot of pomp and circumstance. But
lot of Amazon Prime. Get your games with Amazon
Prime. A lot of Amazon Prime and Twitch stuff, but
this defense, it is defense. Like they kind of paid for it, so whatever. Anyway, sorry.
Gearbox's new game, which was sort of leaked, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's a follow-up to Bunkers and Badasses, The Salt and Dragon Keep. It's out by April 2022.
And this is standalone, right?
Standalone, and it's not a Borderlands game like mechanically. Like there's spells, it will play differently. Metal Slug Tactics. This looks so when they announced
this looks dope.
I like when they announced it, I'm like, that's Metal. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like this. They did an anti-Metal Slug game, and you see all of the sprites, and it looks fresh off of a arcade cabinet in the '90s. Look, I love this idea. I'm not 100% certain it'll fly off very well, but I support it 100%. So I will keep my eye on this.
And speaking of Arcade One Up, who does the home cabinets, just announced 4 new ones. These look so cool, but they're like $600.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2, Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Turtles in Time, which I would Oh, if I could afford those or had a place to put them.
Right, yeah.
I think it's more along the lines of a place to put them.
Yeah.
We don't need a dining room. Why?
No.
We're
Turtles
gonna
in
put,
time.
That's what the dining room table is for. storage.
no, we're just gonna put all 4 of them just like so you can walk around and just there's 4 of us, we take turns.
Mhm.
I can just see Arya go to Turtles.
Give your sister a turn at Galaga. A sequel to Salt and Sanctuary was announced. Salt and Sacrifice.
Online co-op.
Yes.
Yes, this looks dope.
Hunt them dirty fucking mages.
It's been
I
what,
kn-
5 years since the first game?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Perfect.
I know. As a gamer, it's not about me, but I want a pumpkin that I can wear on my head in this game because Pumpkinhead needs to come out of retirement.
I just need the sound effects to be as ridiculous as they were in Salt and Sanctuary because when you hit the bad guys, they made the weirdest, funniest noises, and it
They were
just
great. They were
tickled me
so
pink.
good. Oh, I
It
was.
looks dope. It looks dope.
I was in a chat with some folks in a Discord server that I'm in, and they were all watching one of the thing, and they were talking about. I think I know we'll probably get to this, but there was a Death's Gambit announcement. I guess.
We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. And they were talking about how that was like one of the best ones, and I'm like, I feel like you're forgetting Death's Gambit or Salt and Sanctuary and Hollow Knight. Like those are kind of and Blasphemous. Those are kind of like the 2D Souls-like.
I'm gonna argue with Hollow Knight not being super Souls-like, but go for it.
The combat.
It's more Metroidvania, and then we've talked about how Metroidvania is kind of like Souls is kind of like 3D.
Yeah.
Well, Hollow Knight isn't quite RPG enough for me to call it.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's 100% fair. But let's not derail this. Jason, what's next?
We got to see more of Solar Ash, which was shown at the State of Play last time. This looks really cool.
We got to do Hyperlight Drifter for a game club at some point before this game.
Sometime when we're feeling like punishing ourselves.
Then there was a ton of random shit, but they closed with finally Elden Ring's trailer.
Oh, you totally skipped Tunic.
I said I wasn't covering everything.
Tunic.
I said if you wanted to chime
You
in.
gotta raise your hand, Matt.
I don't remember the order of everything. That's your job.
Yes, Tunic.
Tunic looks great. It looks adorable. I can't wait to play it. But yes, Elden Ring looks fucking awesome.
Play it on PC, man. I just wish listed on Steam.
It's
Tunic,
basically
that is.
open world fantasy Souls. Let's do it.
Yeah. I was
And
reading.
there are little bounce pads that look like
Yeah.
you just
I'm
sit
like-
there or
You that
something
said it
down.
was like Souls with the verticality of Skyrim. Was that you who said that? Somebody said that to me. Yeah.
I did in your play-by-play. I mean,
in my blow by blow.
I knew that didn't do complete justice, but I mean, it made sense in my head. It was Souls.
I got what you were saying when I went to watch the trailer after.
Mhm.
I need
January
Go ahead,
22nd,
21st.
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 Do we think that's gonna hold?
No,
that date?
No, I don't think
no,
so.
I'll guarantee it'll not hold.
I
You
don't
know
think
what? I'm gonna have the faith over here. Here we go. I'm gonna have the faith. I'm gonna keep the faith.
Ooh. Now that'll be almost 6 years.
New place, she could stretch her
6 years
shit.
since what? Since
Mystic.
Dark Souls 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Although I
did
mean they
Sekiro.
did Sekiro,
Yeah.
but I meant
Probably
like as a Souls game.
You guys haven't played Sekiro, right?
No,
I did.
I'm not.
You did? Did you beat
Yeah.
it?
Platinum
Okay.
it.
I don't know why I thought none of you guys had played it, but yeah.
No, Sekiro is probably the best combat that they've ever done.
Yeah, you know what? I can see the argument for that.
I mean, is it the best game? I mean, you could make an argument that it's the best game, but best and favorite are different. Like my favorite is still Demon Souls, but without a doubt, that's the best combat they've ever done. The best melee combat they've ever done. Mikiri counter is one of those. It's like a grappling hook. Like that's one thing that any melee combat game should have. Like if someone swings a spear at you, you should be able to step on it and say no. and it's and
Fuck your spear.
A grappling hook in general is just
He kind of also does have a grappling hook.
no, but I'm like comparing the mechanics. I know Sekiro has a grappling hook, but it's like the Makiri counter is like a grappling hook for melee combat. It's just one of those things that kind of becomes essential going forward.
And when you nail that step, you get that nice
Oh,
sound
it's
effect.
beautiful.
Oh.
I mean, they know how to do a parry sound. They know how to do it. Like in the Souls games, you have that boom, and then with the Makiri counter, it's like all the combat is moving at 100 miles an hour, but the Makiri counter turns it into bullet time in the Matrix. But yeah, well, Elden Ring better have a Makiri counter as far as that would be great.
I wanted to say, so I thought the trailer looked great, trying to go dark on it, but I feel like I need to filter out certain words if I can see on Feedly. Jason got me stuck on an app called Feedly, which just feeds everything for every like website you pick into a nice little bite-sized digestible article. And if you want to read more, you can go and go to the article. But anyways, like I read an article where it's going to have like kind of a Firelink hub, and it's going to have like 6 different I'm like, I gotta stop reading this. I don't want to know anything more. I know a lot of people were like kind of crapping on the graphics and how it looks, and I'm like,
that's what everybody did about every trailer during E3. Can I just say, we're seeing in development footage. Everybody needs to just calm their tits. That's what
right. No, I totally agree with you. I am just like, you got Elden Ring and you're gonna sit there and complain about the graphics. I'm like it's gonna be on Xbox One X. That like the least common denominator is that console, which like dancers fight drops below 10 frames per second. So I mean, like they have to put something out there that is just like, this is kind of what it looks like. I'm sure they're going to optimize it for current gen, which is the 5 and the Series X, and then PC will have like an optimized. So I think it's going to be fine. To be honest, I looked at the trailer and I didn't think it was a problem. But then again, I'm not playing on PC all the time.
Also, you're watching a trailer, which is streaming, and there's so many things that can go wrong with streaming footage.
Yes, you can't trust a streaming if you could download it and check it out or whatever. It's just
there is a 4K trailer available that they released after.
That's the one I think I watched.
Shortly, I'm going to make an argument about the graphics for something else, but I have a justification, but we'll get there.
Valid.
Before we move on, I just want to say I thought Elden Ring looked super colorful.
Yes,
it did.
Like I thought
some people that I watch streaming that do Dark Souls 3 said it looked plastic, and I was like, I don't think so. I think the problem is it's just not dark and dreary like 3. They're like, so that's what makes it look that way to them.
It's not Dark Souls, but it's their engine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
It's going to have similar visual style, but they can pull other elements into it. One thing, like it's E3, which means it's the season of gaming, but it also means that on social media, it is the season of bad takes. So one of the most common things I saw.
Hi, welcome to Story Route Zero. No, I'm kidding.
I know, literally, you guys can't really tell because it's too far away, but my whiteboard says "Dear Gamers" on it. My whiteboard is right there.
Nice.
It actually says "Dear Gamers" TM, by the way. Just saying. I told Jason I'm going to be putting hidden messages on the whiteboard from now on. Now it's there.
Do it. Bring the whiteboard. In fact, don't hide them. Just bring them over.
The bad take that I've been seeing about Elden Ring was, oh, I didn't realize this was just open world Souls. It looks like a Souls game. I'm like,
you know who the developer is, right? Like you know who the developer is, and you know what makes him his money, right? Like that's like
it's like
that's like trying to tell like fucking Peyton Manning like, oh, I can't believe you went and played for another team. Like, what are you crazy?
It's like we know it's open world Souls with lore from George R.R. Martin. That's what we've known for like 2 years. But it's just bad takes and social media.
Next up is Day of the Devs. There's a lot of stuff. Just quick highlight: Axiom Verge 2. It's going to be on PS4 and 5 when it was originally revealed. I think we all kind of assumed it would be, but the original announcement didn't have that.
Wasn't it
they
Switch
showed-
originally?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. At
Well, it was
Indie World.
announced on the Switch like at an
Yeah.
indie,
Yeah.
like an
Yeah,
indie
it was-
thing,
yeah.
like last year, early last year. So
Mhm.
We
yeah,
saw more footage of Loot River, which looked really cool.
yes,
And well, for Matt, Annapurna is having their own event July 29th.
Yeah, I know. I marked that on my calendar. I'm excited.
Netflix Geek Week, tons of shows they announced.
yes,
Real quick, Cuphead, Castlevania
Yes.
spin-off,
Mhm.
Splinter Cell.
Well, we knew about the Cuphead spin-off.
Well, yeah, we knew about
We
Cuphead,
knew about
but
that,
they
and
finally showed
we
something.
could surmise about Castlevania as well.
yeah, because it was doing pretty well. Castlevania was doing well, and they
But
were
they had
like,
also said they would do more, just not with the season 4 was the end of that saga.
Yeah.
right. Well, I
Um,
think it was reported somewhere when they were talking about the Jason Bateman show. I can't remember what it is, but anyways, they were saying like Netflix doesn't like series that go past a certain amount of season count, like
I think they
3
realized
or
that
4.
season 5 is the killer.
Right, because then like people don't watch that legacy content anymore. So I think it's cool. Like, hey, do 4 seasons, tell a good story, and then jump somewhere else and jump back. Anyways, go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Splinter Cell, we're not getting a game, so we're gonna get a
Maybe one of the
Somebody's
maybe the second
bitter.
biggest tease of the
No,
season
I don't
so
care.
far.
I think it's funny. I have no
Yeah, I
real
think it's
ties
funny
to Splinter
too.
Cell. I think it's one of those teases like
People have a hard on for Splinter Cell.
let's throw Sam Fisher
What-
in Ghost Recon. Let's do this. We're never gonna
What
do
What I would really freaking love is next year, I like pull like less, like a shorter window thing of like Fallout, and just be like, it's out in 3 months. Like the new
Yeah,
Splinter Cell
I mean, that
game's
would
out
be
in 3
nuts,
months,
but-
and the internet would just fucking explode. Like, not
Yeah.
even give a trailer, just throw a trailer on a screen, have like a cool cinematic trailer, have gameplay, and then just be like 3 months. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, it's out in August. Or whatever, whenever they show the trailer. But that would be
I wonder how Ubisoft would pull that off, though. I feel like that would be a problem for them. I don't know why.
I
They have a
agree.
I
problem
don't
with
know.
plugging leaks.
That too.
Yeah.
But also, what if like some point in the next couple of years you get a Sony event where it opens up with the Sony Pictures logo, and then it just cuts like they're doing a Siphon Filter movie.
Ooh.
Like, that would
God, they would like.
that would
I
be
think people
so
would riot.
silly. That would be so silly. Anyway, continue, Jason.
WitcherCon, we got a tease for Witcher Season 2, and July 9th, Netflix is having something. And it showed both the video game and the Henry Cavill version, which was kind of cool. And then last but not least, Resident Evil, we got to see a few minutes of the animated, and they announced for the live action, Lance Reddick is going to play Wesker, and that story revolves around the Wesker family, which is different because we've never seen that in the games. And I mean, Lance Reddick is an awesome actor, so I'm super excited.
Before you move, continue. I'm
I
sorry.
was just say shame on the internet, but why? But like Kotaku ran the article that Lance Reddick was cast, and holy crap, the racist came out of the woodworks. It's like, but it's a video game. He's not a real person. You can make him. He could be anyone. Could play Albert Wesker. It's like, slow your roll. It was just like not even hidden. It's like, why? Why do we have to make him black? Why this? It's like, whoa, slow your roll there.
Well, I mean, you just said you've never seen any of this in the video game, right?
No. We've seen Wesker. We've just
Okay.
never seen his family. We only know Wesker as just that douchebag, that Guile knockoff who stirs up shit.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
So
That's
basically,
a true statement.
so basically, Lance Reddick is an upgrade. That's what you're telling me. Yeah.
I would say yes. I
so-
would say
Hey,
yes.
he played a convincing villain in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. Hey, gamers, it ain't about you. Shut up. So before we move from the Netflix geek thing, they did something that only I care about. They announced the next Gundam thing. And it looks dope. Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, no release date. One of the Discords I'm in that is Gundam focused have been talking about this for damn near years at this point. And that trailer looks... you don't like anime, but still, take a couple minutes to watch the trailer. If you don't like that, then there's no hope, and that's fine. Move on, Jay.
Tribeca Games showed more footage of Kina, which just keeps
Gameplay.
looking wow.
That I just wish it was getting a physical. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Get a physical.
Showed off Sable.
It's only going to be digital. That sucks.
I believe Kina is digital only, right, Jason?
I think so.
Yeah. There's
And,
digital deluxe, but that's it.
We got to see
Okay.
more of. I was going to make a terrible joke, but I'm going to pass. More of 12 minutes.
I know where it was going.
I will not let you slander my Annapurna.
No. There's, like I said, I'll post the links. There's just too much to cover.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We got to see. It was more like a teaser for this. The is it Koch?
Coke Media.
They have a new publisher that they're working with. We're getting a new Painkiller game. We haven't had a Painkiller game since like the early 2000s. Payday 3.
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to Switch.
I think we knew that.
What?
Did we know that Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Oh,
I think it was rumored. I don't think it was confirmed.
Oh, it was a rumor. Okay, never mind.
I think it was a rumor. Yeah.
They showed off Dolmen, which is basically Warframe Souls.
And the poster looks very Mass Effect.
Yes.
I actually did watch this, believe it or not. I ended up in the Uppercut Discord where they were streaming it, and I watched it with them. And wow, this conference looked bad.
Not the worst conference out there, though.
No, I'm not. I couldn't say that. But like the guy talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance coming to Switch, even he looked like, I'm not sure why this is happening.
Like, there were genuine, like, people who were, like, too nice to be real people actually apologizing for being mean about this. Like, they were like, I'm sorry, but this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Um,
And then he also had soap that had to do with Kingdom Come Deliverance on this conference. And I just said, if you really want to smell medieval, I don't think you know what medieval smells like. So
I was gonna say, yes, no, soap's not gonna get you there.
yeah, you don't
Nope.
want
The fuck. Anyways.
Michaela's face says it all.
IGN Summer of Gaming. Bunch of announcements, but real quick, Mortal Shell's getting a DLC, the Virtuous Cycle. We have to see more footage of Ollie Ollie World, which
looks good.
Man.
World War Z is getting the next gen treatment and additional content, Aftermath.
Nice.
That's Gamma's getting DLC Afterlife. It's coming to Switch, and then it's a free upgrade for.
Question: how many of you guys played Death's Gambit? Anybody?
Big
Okay,
four
cool.
bosses.
I reviewed it, so that one's.
I'm looking forward to the DLC.
It's very good. It's very difficult. I think it was one of the hardest ones of those.
Good. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus, she's out here.
Oh no!
I will mute both of you.
Before you move on, just because I know this was
there was one more thing for this.
In the running order, Doki Doki Literature Club I think opened this.
Oh yeah, it did.
And I think I'm the only one that's interested in it, or at least on this panel. Doki Doki Literature Club visual.
I weeb, but I don't weeb that hard.
Yeah.
We
Get on my level. No,
And we got to see more of Spider's next game, Steel Rising, and that looks really cool.
Steel Rising was like Nier Automata and the French Revolution, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah.
We got the Wholesome Direct, another one. Just watch it if you're an indie fan.
wasn't Sifu at IGN Expo or no?
Oh yeah, Sifu was. We got more footage
which
of that.
which is Absolver's developers doing a Yakuza beat 'em up.
Yeah, we
That's
They
saw
cool.
also
that
at one
state
point
of play.
confirmed that there's also a female playable character. There's male and female,
Mhm.
I believe.
Which is good. Anyway, continue.
Ubisoft. Okay, but still not the worst conference.
No, not the worst conference.
We got more footage of Rainbow Six Extraction, release date of October.
Which looks way better than it did when they first showed it to us, and it had a very different.
Definitely.
I was gonna say this is the one that was called Quarantine, right?
Yes.
But now we can't say that.
Pre-conference, it was leaked, but they confirmed Mario plus Rabbids Spark of Hope.
Yes.
Didn't
That's
Nintendo do
cool.
that? They just
Yeah,
started
Nintendo
to
did
do-
like screw it, we'll leak it ourselves, Ubisoft.
Fuck your couch.
Which
Rock
You guys play Mario Rabbids? Real
I
quick,
played
by the
about
way.
5 hours.
I did fucking loved it.
I
It
don't
did not
own
hold
it.
my attention, but I can see how it'd be appealing, especially if you have kids or something like that.
Well, isn't it like
The opera
Whatchamacallit?
boss is great. Just saying.
Exo Squad? Like
Yeah,
Or what was
It's,
it?
it's an SRPG, but very
Yeah,
light.
yeah.
it's very
Yeah. If you like that, you can play it with your kids or whatever,
Mhm.
like you were saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Anyways.
it's baby tactics. It's baby XCOM. Yeah.
Yes, game for babies.
Rocksmith
No.
Plus was announced.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
They said we're going to get more Ghost Recon content because the 20th anniversary of Rainbow Six is October. So we'll see. They constantly drop content for that, so maybe they'll plan something. If they remastered the original Rainbow Six game,
Would be nice.
one of my favorite books of all time.
It is a really good book. Yeah,
People-
I thoroughly
people-
enjoyed it.
Wait, the game's based on a book? Yes, it is.
So is the Witcher series.
What?
Mm,
I'm pretty sure Metro is as well.
That book
That's true.
series is actually excellent.
Yeah.
It's even darker than the series. It's a little too dark at times. And they close with Avatar.
But you skipped Just Dance. I thought the whole show was going to be about Just Dance.
You know, that was going to be the finale. You ruined the whole close. God damn it.
Avatar looks dope, though. I don't love that it's first person because it's me, but it looks very good.
Now, what is
It's a hard
this?
pass.
I didn't watch this. I don't know. anything about
Avatar's
it.
made by the Division developers, Matt.
Are we talking James Cameron Avatar?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. I'm making sure we're
No, not the sacred Avatar.
not good Avatar.
No,
Not Atla.
the Avatar James Cameron plans to make 5 of because
The
didn't he
Avatar that we
make-
talk about like it's a franchise, but it's still just one movie.
Right.
exactly.
One movie, 6 hours, and apparently a religion on some level. It's
It was a good movie. I'll always watch Sigourney Weaver. Why the fuck not? But like, I mean, the game, the engine, like the footage looks very impressive. It was probably one of the most visually impressive games we've seen throughout E3.
But Devolver,
Yeah.
they're very, like you said before, we don't have to go back into it. They know who they are. They know
Yes.
what to do. And it's just, we opened with Shadow Warrior 3, which looked very Doom
This-
Eternal.
This is the best it's looked. This is the best it's looked. Because I got dizzy during like it was crazy how much was happening at once.
Trek to Yomi.
Hell yeah. I'm going to say this now, and I'm probably gonna get some shit from maybe Michaela, maybe Jason. If Moose doesn't hear me say it, fuck him. I think this black and white looks way better than Ghost of Tsushima's Kurosawa mode. Because
Yeah, but this is the main game, whereas Kurosawa mode is like an add-on for Ghost.
let me finish my sentence, please.
Yeah.
Because they actually designed black and white rather than grayscaling a beautifully colored game. You know, beautifully Technicolor game. If you grayscale that, it's always going to look poor.
Yeah.
This game looks dope as hell, and I want it.
Oh no, I agree with you because I think I said when we did I think we all said Black and White and Ghost actually did a disservice because the game looked so good and Black and White killed some of the scenery.
Well, it also fucked up accessibility even.
And the sound. Yeah.
Yeah, and
the
sound.
main problem for me with Kurosawa was the sound over, like, yes, like visually it's more impressive in Technicolor, but the sound is where because sound is essential to the gameplay as well as the overall experience cinematically for Ghost. Whereas this is designed from the ground up to be black and white. It's got very much of that like classic Japanese cinema. Like my touch point is Rashomon. Whenever I look at something like this, it's got that vibe.
Yeah, it's easily one of his best photographed films, so it's a good touch point.
For Devolver, this was actually my favorite for Devolver. Wizard with a Gun.
I figured that would be your favorite.
So I couldn't wrap my head around what was going on. I was too busy looking at it.
That's why I liked it so much.
But see, I was too busy going, man, I wish more games did like the Black Mage from Final Fantasy looking characters. I wish that happened a lot more.
Yeah, pretty much.
I wish Final Fantasy still did that.
And then
I mean, no, but okay.
I mean, yes.
They can modernize it.
Maybe they have. We'll get to that
They
later.
have not.
and then Demon Throttle got announced, but it's physical only.
Only through special reserve games. And they leaned into like, you're only going to be able to get it once or pay out the ass on the secondary market. It's like they saw it come.
Welcome to eBay.
They're obviously mocking a certain big company that did something. But
Yeah.
interesting enough, Super Rare Games is another physical publisher. They announced this Super Rare Shorts. There was so much backlash, but apparently they actually said it, but nobody bothered reading. It was a 6-month exclusive where it was just physical, but then you can buy it digitally. Like this was their like. So, the internet read no.
No.
Nobody reads.
As big of
I
a
can't
fan
read, so that's why I don't read.
of the next publisher.
Well, are you finished with
I'm done with
Devolver?
Devolver.
Okay, so I like Death's Door.
Oh, right. That was it.
Death's
That looks
Door,
cool.
Death's Door looks really cool. I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was like that Temple Run game.
Oh, Phantom Abyss.
Yeah, I know there's a demo out for that. I'm not sure if it's just PC or
It's just
what.
Steam right now.
I think I'm going to try that just to see how it feels, just because that idea kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean,
It has a cool idea.
yeah. And then when they were, I don't remember if this happened when they were talking about the Max Pass Plus, but it's Nina Struthers, right? That's her name. She said one of the greatest lines I've ever heard, and I wrote it down specifically to say it. But she was referring to, she basically said, discounts from why not to fuck me, why are my pants wet? And I'm just like, Devolver.
That's actually, yeah, I like that.
That's real good.
Now that you mention it, Devolver always does Steam discounts, and they don't do just one game. They literally do their whole catalog.
Yeah.
Titan Souls is free to get on Steam. So for those who
Thank
don't
you for
know-
that. I'm going to get it right now while you're talking about it.
They're
Why
going to
won't-
be 50% of our cast.
Why won't my Steam open up? What the hell's going on?
Next up was Gearbox. This was bad because they didn't do anything. Like
What? Gearbox? No, I'm kidding.
Well, we got words on the screen that Homeworld 3 is in development. They told us.
Right.
I know they wanted to show off the movie set, but they didn't really do anything, although it gave us the meme of the century with Randy Pitchford going for a high five and Kevin Hart looking away. They showed off Tiny Tina's Wonderland again, which is cool. And Godfall's being backwards engineered for PS4 come August.
Is anybody gonna play it anyways?
I would only play if it goes PS Plus. I'll try it, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the future of play, which was a lot. Just yeah, I'll put the link in. During all these announcements, Dunk Lords, which I did review
Coming to Switch Thursday, I believe.
Thursday, and they even announced 50% off. It is only $10. Everyone should get this game. Yes.
Yeah.
Then we got Xbox and Bethesda. Opened with Starfield. And a release date, November 11th, 2022.
That makes me so uncomfortable because it is so far away that there's just no way.
It's, yes, regardless of who it is, like, if they said, like, holiday 2022, it's something, but, like, they have they've pinpointed
Day and date.
Day and day. It's like, Hades is coming to PS4, 5, and Game Pass August 13th.
Hell
I
yeah.
did not pre-order it physically again.
The physical edition is on Amazon.com. Link will be.
I did not pre-order it again.
Diablo 2 got
I totally believe you.
Diablo 2 got a trailer and a release date, September 23rd. And I know on PlayStation there's this, not a sale, but you could spend, I think it's $40 and get Diablo 3 and 2. So if you don't have 3, that's a sweet deal because that's a lot of content.
Yeah.
They showed Stalker 2, which looks really cool. And they didn't announce it, but apparently it's only a 3-month exclusive. This information was released in the Epic Apple lawsuit. It was in one of the documents, and they reported on it today. So that's April next year. So by summer, we should have it on PS5. Redscape, that vampire game by Arcane Studios. It's really cool. There's a few other. We got to see Halo Infinite replaced, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good show. They showed a lot more content for Fallout 76 coming in July and next year. Yes.
Well, I have a couple of shout outs before the one that I'm going to talk about for Xbox's show. They showed a lot of smaller, like indie-based games. Like I love that Slime Rancher is getting a sequel. That's kind of cool and very cute.
That's cool.
That makes them. I saw the news about that. I'm like, yeah, that's good. I'm glad that's happening.
And then of course, Mutant Chronicle. I knew that got moved from 2022 to 2023 because I'm a backer and I get the dev emails. But I don't think that I knew about the Rising game, which is like an action version. But HD 2D love, Mutant Chronicle, 100 Heroes. Check it out. Looks great for the JRPG love. And then Jason, did you have the next one that I'm going to talk about that I wrote about?
No.
A Plague Tale Requiem is the best announcement of E3. I'm just saying.
Meh.
Dropping it right here. Don't math me. Are you kidding me? That is the best Survivor.
I'll mad you all I want.
Oh my god. Well, okay, it's heavily rumored right now that Plague Tale Innocence will be a PS Plus title this month. We'll find out.
Which y'all should play. It was one of my favorite games the year it came out.
So good. 2019. It came out May 2019.
But I'm kind of, when I haven't seen this, so I'm kind of thinking, I'm kind of in the mode where like, that story was good. Why do we need to do this again?
I knew there was going to be a sequel. The game was so successful. Watch the trailer. It creates a new arc. It looks good. They're a little bit older. There's new characters involved. It looks like it's a new part of France. You see Hugo on the coastline at one point. Very exciting. It looks amazing. It's a next gen game for the most part, so we know it's coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Nintendo Switch via a cloud version, which is weird because the first game is not on Switch. Looking at you tomorrow, Nintendo. But it looks like they stepped up some of the gameplay, because one of the complaints about the original game for some people, not for me at all, is that it's heavily stealth and puzzle focused, but the combat was lackluster because Amicia only has a slingshot, which makes sense. She's like a 14-year-old girl. She's not like raised as a warrior. She was just a minor lord's daughter living in the French countryside in the 1300s. It makes sense that she can't go toe to toe with French Inquisition soldiers who are wearing full like chainmail. But she's wearing a crossbow in this new trailer, so there's definitely going to be more of a combat element to it. It sounds like Oliver Derivier is back for the music, which gets me hype. It's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It is mostly a strings only soundtrack with a little bit of percussion and stuff in there too. But it looks gorgeous. I'm very interested to see where they're going to go with the bite and the rats next. I just hope it's still as intensive to make you survive. Like, even if they give you more combat elements, I still want that puzzling stealth emphasis on, like, if you get caught, if you fuck up, you're dead kind of like tension moment. This is my favorite announcement of the week to date. Also, Plague Tale Innocence to Requiem. Requiem is a hymn for the repose of the dead, so it's a even darker connotation in the title, whereas Innocence was these two main characters, the Darun siblings, they're the breaking of their innocence, essentially their childhood disrupted. God knows what Requiem is going to do. I'm very interested. I am intrigued. I am hooked. I am ready for this game.
Oh, and speaking of music, I forgot. Starfield, they announced today, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, Inan Zur was announced as a composer. He's behind Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, 76, Dragon Age Origins. So that's
nice.
That's pretty cool. So we'll have an excellent score. All right, before we do the next one, because I know Michaela wants to talk about it, we got Back for Blood, PC Gaming, Future Games, all had shows. In television, Amico, we got to see more of that.
For the Future Games show, no, the PC Games show, there's one game that I wanted to shout out. Solstice looks very good. Soul is like Soul. Solstice. It is a Souls-like with two female protagonists that are like chimeras or something, and one's like specialized towards melee and one is specialized towards more like magic strategy stuff. I don't know. It looks beautiful. It looks intriguing. It looks a little bit more fast-paced than your typical Souls-like. I'm on board for this. It is not just PC. It is coming multi-plat consoles. So next year, and it's an Italian dev, I think. So represent.
Yeah, they were talking about how a lot of people's reactions to it. They were mentioning Berserk, which kind of sold. So
the Intellivision system, physical and digital games, no microtransactions allowed. And their first game is Dolphin Quest, which is made by the original members of the Echo the Dolphin team.
Nice.
Of course it is.
An update for everyone, but specifically Moose. Sports Story announced today. They've been hard at work. They've been working on the tennis portion. Apparently they worked too hard and there's too much tennis content. It's literally its own game within the game now.
Nice. That's awesome.
That rules.
That is awesome.
We also had the Limited Run Games show today. Announced a ton of stuff. Axiom Verge 2. No details, but me and Moose were talking about it. It could be like a day and date because we don't even know the release date yet, so maybe
that might be coming from Nintendo because I don't know.
Konami already did Castlevania. They announced
Requiem
Anniversary is coming. Ton of games go to Limited Run. Love their stuff, but a lot of stuff they announced. Not all, but go ahead.
I did want to say, Matt, I don't know if you saw River City Girls too.
Yep, I was
Yeah.
actually I didn't know where that was. I was kind of waiting to see how the rest of this played out.
Which
River
so
City
it was
Girls
like
too.
weird because they like showed it, and I'm like I was telling Jason, I'm like, this is a weird conference for me because it's like limited run. Like I don't feel like they announced new games. They just announced stuff they're making physical, but they were announcing new games too. So I thought it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? That was a pretty cool conference.
Let's see.
Did I Am 8-Bit do anything this time out or no?
They did with Day of the Devs.
Okay,
Okay. That's it.
All right, because I remember them talking about something. But yeah.
Before we do the last one, they just announced Bandai Namco tomorrow is only doing House of Ashes. Apparently, this is the final game in the Dark Pictures anthology.
Okay.
They showed this already. It does look cool, but the whole Dark Pictures anthology has not been received well.
Yeah.
This is supposedly related to Until Dawn, though. So I don't know where it's set in that timeline.
I thought it all kind of was in a way.
No, I don't think Man of
I don't think
Medan or however you
Man of
pronounce that.
Medan.
I don't think it was connected to Until Dawn.
And I think wasn't that prequel the Inpatient Until Dawn or something?
Maybe
That wasn't even part of the Dark.
Wasn't there a VR one too?
Yeah, the VR one is canonically connected to Until Dawn. I know that.
Yeah.
Rush of Blood or whatever that.
Yes, that was the on-rail shooter.
Yes. Wait, so is the last one the one that I'm going to talk about? Because if so, also Capcom went today, and there wasn't really much there.
Resident Evil Village is getting DLC. They said with the overwhelming support, we're developing an RE-verse will be out. I think this is July, or they'll get more info. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is going to have some crossover with Rise.
Yeah, there was cosmetic crossover, I believe.
Yeah. And they showed a lot of esports. Square Enix had it was a pretty hype show.
It was something.
It opened with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is it's different than the Marvel's Avengers game. It is a single player focus. You play as Star-Lord. Your whole team's there all the time. It looks like you can control like their abilities in combat. There's also like decision making, and it affects the story, which seemed cool if they really go all in on that.
Yeah, if it gets pulled off well, yeah.
Like they were showing, like you can make a choice and the story plays out this way, and then it probably maybe mechanically, like if you use one party member versus another. What I was going to say before about when things looked graphically, this has a release date of October. And I know this said developer video, so it was like recorded on multiple platforms. That concerns me because it's middle of June and you have an October. This is the first we're hearing of it. It's
October 26th.
I know that's not set in stone. This could be delayed. But that didn't look like. It's not that it looked like last gen. It just looked like maybe it was the stream. Maybe there's a better version.
Rough.
It looked rough.
Just the way your mother likes it, Trebek.
But yeah, to me, it's streaming. It's in development footage. You don't know which platform they're showing you because they said it's multiple platforms. It will look more finished come October. Will we see it on October 26th? I'm leaning towards yes, because I think they're more likely to hit that date and then update it afterwards than they are to delay in this case.
It's just the in-development footage seemed odd to me with a release date so close. Versus if it said like pre-alpha or something like that. Like it just seemed for something with a release date in a couple months. If it looks as good as Avengers, because it's got that same art style, then that's fine.
Yep.
I actually like this gameplay better than the Avengers, the way it played out.
And it's Western Square. So to explain real quick, so Avengers is technically Crystal Dynamics.
And this is
Eidos Montreal. but those studios share resources. They've worked together before. Like Eidos and Crystal Dynamics both worked on the Tomb Raider reboot games. Like it's similar. It's going to be same engine, same resources, similar devs. So,
and it seems like what I liked as a fan of the comic, they're really digging into the backlog of like villains and not just using what we know. They're going the comic / their own, so they're not using the likeness from the MCU, which probably costs a fortune anyway to do. But we'll see. I mean, it's October. It's up for pre-order, so a couple months. We'll see. I mean, it'd be cool if it hit that date, but it's already a crowded fall, so get the hell out. Next date. I can't even talk about this. It's so disappointing.
Just point at your background and just look sad.
They teased Final Fantasy 1 through 6 getting some pixel remaster. And I've seen reaction videos like the Kratos reveal, and then at the end it goes Steam Mobile, and like every reaction, what the I don't think there's enough info. I've looked more into it. It looks like it's going to not be the port style. It's going to be like that pixel, more similar to like the original NES Super Nintendo, but it still boggles the mind. Like, I have no problem with mobile and Steam. Why? Like, everyone's big thing is like, why is this not on console? Like, why is this not on Switch? Like, what? So,
I don't know if you guys can see this, but I just want to, just a reaction. So Jason and I were texting when this, and I got what with about 20 question marks from Jason. And then I said, I'm not breathing with a typo in it. Square does care. And then just, at the end, this like little tiny blurb is just AW, Steam Mobile. What the fuck? Damn it. That's kind of how it went. That's how this went. And then it's also
he went, guy listeners, he went real high and then went real low.
It was a roller coaster, and then
it's like that scene in The Simpsons where Bart is rewinding Ralph Williams, like, look, you could see the moment where his heart just snaps in half.
I was gonna say the scene from Rounders. He comes in and hopes and dreams squashed. Babylon's Fall was shown. This is Platinum Games. This did not get received very well.
No, it didn't. So, background context. Babylon's Fall is from Platinum Games. It was revealed at E3 of 2018. We've had very little information about it since then. We have had like little snippets here and there over the past 3 years. But basically this was the re-reveal of this game, and it didn't look quite up to snuff with what people were expecting after, we're living in a post-Nier Automata world. So Nier Automata is the last main collaboration between Square Enix and Platinum Games. This doesn't quite look like that. It is also not just a single player game. It is a 1 to 4 player co-op game. So that already little bit of sus there. And then they also said the words live services, and it will be supported post-launch. So you get some more crunchy, I don't know, sus vibes.
That sounds crunchy though.
Whenever you hear like that co-op ongoing, we're supporting it post-launch, it's not a vote of confidence from social media gamers, at the very least. There is a closed beta. I am not trying to get in on that, but I will continue to watch this game personally to see how it unfolds.
We got a lot of mobile content coming out. The Nier game actually looks cool.
Nier Reincarnation looks dope.
The Final
It does.
Fantasy Soldier game.
The Battle Royale one does not. Also there was the Hitman one.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Hitman
Matt.
Sniper one looks really cool. Me
Looks
and Moose
really
were talking about it because and I think Matt, you've played the Hitman.
Yes, it's been a long time since I
More
played
of that.
this.
All four. And then we got Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Yeah.
So I think this would have been more exciting if it wasn't leaked.
One, yes.
Yeah.
For
I
one,
didn't
if
know
it
it was
wasn't
leaked.
leaked. So this is the Team Ninja Neo Souls-like in the Final Fantasy universe. I am excited for it. The trailer didn't blow most people away. I think it is unfair that a lot of people are calling it a PS3 looking game because I think like if you watch that trailer, I feel like some people, again, dear gamers, I need to go get that
Yeah.
whiteboard, rip it off my door, and bring it over here.
But yeah,
gotta
you-
put
Do
it
you
on the
remember what
electric model.
PS3 actually looked like? Because this is not like people have graphics shoved so far up their ass. They don't even know what
Right.
they're fucking.
But
I even saw
They do
people
it
talking
themselves.
about in the comments like, well, what do you expect? Team Ninja's making the gameplay. They're the main developer, and Neo doesn't look that good. Excuse me.
I'm gonna hold on.
I think we should all mute and just let Michaela go.
Hold on. Speaking of the graphics, I mentioned the PS3. So there's a fast forward, there's a demo which currently doesn't work. It's literally corrupted when you go to load it. It says files corrupted.
Awesome. This
They-
is yeah.
Fake
That's the worst part.
Kaz came out of retirement to tweet this. The demo doesn't work on PS5 because it's not backwards compatible with PS3.
I saw that tweet. Fucking, I just, you know what? It is a huge gaffe that they put the demo, the free trial version, whatever you want to call it, on the store, and it doesn't work. It is over 24 hours later at this point, and I checked before the show around 7 o'clock our time. It is now 10 o'clock our time. It still was not working. I have notifications turned on for the game's Twitter account. They have not tweeted in the last 24 hours since they acknowledged that there is an issue with the demo version. That is a huge issue.
Yeah, it's not like it's a lot. It's not like it's an online game and like billions of people loaded in and it crashed. Like
no,
when
it's just
Resident
not
Evil
working.
Village was announced and that demo said now, everyone downloaded it and played it that night. Like
I think originally it was supposed to release. They said that it was supposed to release today, but for some reason it was available yesterday. But it's still not even working today, so that's a huge issue that the demo version is not working. I want to take a step back though and talk about what this game actually represents, because I want to talk about something positive. So yes, the graphics didn't look super polished. We were looking at in development footage, and the demo doesn't work. Those are bad things. Those are negative things. Positive things. This is a game set in the Final Fantasy universe with Square Enix Final Fantasy veterans working on it, but the main development and gameplay is being driven by the Neo team. And we know that they know how to make good gameplay.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can see in like the weapon animations, you see the Neo and the Ninja Gaiden influence in those weapon animations. There's different classes. There's a Dragoon class. You know I'm gonna fucking play as a Dragoon in this fucking game. There's different classes. You have
As
a
someone
party.
who does not know what a Dragoon class still is, I know how passionate you still are about it, and I respect the fact that you're going to play
You
as
hurt me, but it's okay. But unlike Neo, it looks like you have a party. So it's not just a solo affair with the occasional AI companion who runs into a wall constantly. That is a critique of Neo too, right there.
That just happens when you summon
Wait.
me when I'm tired. I'm sorry.
Why you gotta call me out when I'm playing WoW? Come on.
But the other thing is, this is an origin story. So can we talk spoilers for a 34-year-old game real quick? Yeah.
I mean, really, a 34-year-old game that doesn't actually end? Sure.
It's older than me, so I'm going for it. Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy game that released 34 years ago. This is a potential prequel / origin story for that particular game, for that universe. Some people are like projecting that it could somehow connect all of the Final Fantasy games, which we know are anthologized. Some are speculated, like 7 and 10 are in the same universe and all that stuff. 13 and 15 are confirmed, same universe, stuff like that. But in the course of FF1, the original game, very early in the game, you confront a villain called Garland, and Garland was featured in this trailer. He's the big dude with the helmet. He's in the Dissidia games. Garland is a known villain. You defeat him because he kidnapped Princess Sarah from Cornelia, and that's one of the first boss fights in the game. It might actually be the first boss fight in the game. It's been a while since I played. But he doesn't die. He travels back in time about 2,000 years. And you know, the rest of the game you spend, it's the first Final Fantasy game. There's 4 elemental crystals. Their power has been drained by 4 arch fiends. You're restoring power to the crystals. You find out the fiends were sent from the past by Garland, who traveled to the past and created this time loop. So my theory is that this FF Origin game takes place 2,000 years before the first Final Fantasy, and you see how Garland becomes Chaos, who is the ultimate villain of Final Fantasy 1. He's the final boss that you confront. They said Chaos like 7 times in this new trailer for this game. So I'm thinking that these are the warriors who are the precursors to the Warriors of Light that are your party in the first Final Fantasy game, and you see the becoming of Chaos, Garland's 2,000 years before the events of the first game that it came out in 1987.
Prequel.
So all I want to say is, why didn't they just take the needle off the record? Because that's all that that's all really that game is. And I'm saying that in jest, of course. But why don't they just call it, if the grand plan is to sort of bring all of the Final Fantasy universes together, why don't they just call it Stranger of Paradise into the Final Fantasy verse?
Well, that's a speculation that it will bring all the Final Fantasies together. To me, I think that it may very well just be an origin story for the first Final Fantasy game and nothing else. Some other outlets are projecting that it will connect all the games.
That's what I took it as. It's going to connect to one.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And that's fine for me, because that's an interesting story. Garland is a great villain. There's a lot to play with there. It's 2,000 years before the first Final Fantasy game, which is separate from all of the other Final Fantasy games. It's not like Dragon Quest where the first couple were connected. FF1 is separate from FF2 entirely. So there's a lot of room to play with stuff there. Of course, there best be a fucking chocobo and an airship, and I wouldn't be disappointed if there's a Cid, but if it doesn't go beyond that to connect to the other Final Fantasy games, I'm perfectly happy. I just want to play Neo in Final Fantasy. My one critique of this, which I was talking about before we started recording, is I am tired. I am exhausted. I am so done with the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years at this point of Final Fantasy being centered around the same hot topic emo boy. Because that is what we have again for a protagonist. Let's have some female characters in this bitch.
I don't even remember what the one from 16 looked like, but I want to say it's
Clive.
Probably similar.
He looks like 15. He looks like Noctis, but with a slightly different hairstyle.
Armor instead of
well, 16 is high fantasy, whereas 15 is like they have a sports car. Like I don't know. Let's. If I wish I could black 15 out of my mind, but I can't.
Can I ask you a question? Have you played original Dragon Quest or no?
The very first one, I have not beaten it, but I have touched it.
Now, if I remember correctly, the final boss is named Chaos as well.
I don't remember.
I might be wrong.
Chaos is a repeated theme throughout Final Fantasy, and of course, Final Fantasy was influenced by Dragon Quest because it was a Square Enix game that came out a year after Dragon Quest. So
yeah, no, I just thought that was interesting. Anyway,
well, I mean,
they might have found a way to get me to play a Final Fantasy game in 2021. So that's
good. And then you can play Final Fantasy 1 on your phone to complement it.
I've already done that.
Or you Switch.
You know,
Announced tomorrow. Calling it.
I wish. I still have my GBA 1 and 2.
I think Square got the biggest blowback of any.
Oh, sure.
Their
Definitely.
conference was disappointing. Like, it might not have been the absolute worst because there were some publishers that literally didn't show anything.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
if that's the bar we're setting,
But you can't really count those to no, you can't. Like you can only count it against the people that showed up,
I mean
you know.
Monday morning quarterback, but Square's the delivery. I felt they spent way too long on Guardians. They should have, like we've talked about.
Yes.
Should have did the deep dive. Like I know you wanted to show it off, but we've never heard of Guardians as a game, so you didn't need to go 25 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? And then I'm like,
they could have put the gameplay deep dive at the end in a post show. That's what I keep saying.
I think people got tired of that. You go into the Final Fantasy, the 1 through 6, you have that huge build, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like, and that like kind of killed the mood for the rest. And then you go into like mobile games. I mean,
we knew that was going to happen.
They showed. I didn't mention it, but they showed the Avengers content, which the Wakanda raid looks really cool.
That does look very good.
But then you showed Babylon's Fall, which people were disappointed, and then you showed Stranger of Paradise, and it just wasn't received. I just think their whole thing, the way it was delivered, it's just
I think
presents what 2 months ago when they announced Life is Strange True Colors was much better, in my opinion. The non E3 one that just happened to March. I want to say March or April. That previous Square Enix Presents event was much better.
But don't worry, we still have Nintendo, and
yes. One thing I want to say,
they're highly capable of disappointing everyone.
I'm going in with positivity tomorrow. One thing I want to say about Square Enix, the other reason, so yes, they spent too long. The pacing was ruined by how much time they spent on Guardians of the Galaxy, which is still a good reveal. They just spent too long on it.
It was like Lord of the Rings 2 Kings. It looked like it was going to end, and then, nope, we're going to show 10 more minutes.
Yes,
that
was too much.
Minutes.
That was too much. And then the disappointment with the non-collection of remasters for 1 through 6. And then the iffiness of Babylon's Fall and even Stranger of Paradise for some people. The big problem with Square Enix is they didn't show their heavy hitters, but that's a but. So they didn't show Forspoken, which I was hoping for gameplay. They didn't show FF16, which they told us we would have information in the first half of the year for. But both of those games were debuted at Sony events, and Sony will very likely have some sort of event besides the Horizon one within the next few weeks. So those games could show up. Sony could be stealing Square's thunder.
Yes, thank you for that segue. Speaking of Sony events.
And speaking of calling it.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit. You were sold. You were convinced.
I mean, I respect your belief to this day.
I want to go back to that footage, but you were so confident.
I thought they'd get in the game, man. I thought they would, but whatever.
I think they will within the next couple weeks, but no.
Yeah, I also look based on just how much is out there for what happened over the past few days. I'm going to say this. I'm not sure there's an E3 to win at this point.
No, there's
and,
not.
And that's not a shot at the ESA. It's a shot of like, you notice how prior to 2020, there was at least like a week where everything just happened. And now, because the ESA decided to play Russian roulette with everybody's information, and other outlets have emerged in their own way, either, like last year when we did the indie game, The Escapist, where it was like 2 hours of nothing but trailers. Everybody's been doing it their own way. It seems like there's way more information out there now. There's way more things getting announced. So honestly, I kind of respect Annapurna for doing something at the end of July.
EA's doing it too.
I respect, Sony saying, we'll just let all of this fervor die down. That way we can have the visibility.
Plus, they showed off 14 minutes of one of their most anticipated titles not
Right.
even a month ago. And the whole, I think we need to get away from the win, because I think that feeds into these stupid console fanboys.
And yeah, that's another thing.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
not-
I'm also, you know what? I'm willing to say, not fanboyism. Xbox had the strongest show of the weekend, but
Mhm.
to Matt's point, E3 no longer has a monopoly on the gaming news season. The two biggest main factors that were the first detractors for that, Sony leaving E3 when E3 was still E3 was a huge deal.
Mhm.
And Jeff Keighley having Summer Game Fest and also upping the stakes on Gamescom, again, is making this a whole summer-long event of news season. And then you've got Annapurna, you've got E3 moving into July. You don't know when Sony's going, but they are going to go, we can presume. E3 no longer has that monopoly. Do I still get excited? Fuck yes. I love how much spotlight was put on indies. And what you need to do is you need to separate two things. To me, it's like church and state. You need to separate the actual news that we get itself and the social media reaction to said news. Because those are two very different things. Because the gaming community on things like Twitter and whatnot is very different from the actual fact of the matter. There was so many good announcements, especially in the indie arena across all shows this weekend, that we all have something to be excited about, even if it's not the same E3 we knew 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Sure.
So that's just my little piece on all of this.
Oh no, you're right. Like, I've seen people like, oh, I didn't really, not you, Matt. I know you get into like the shows, but like people like, nothing really caught my eye. So it's, what do you mean? Like, what were you looking? I think the problem is people want something and they didn't get that. Like, I went into all this, there wasn't like, oh, this studio better announce this. It's just cool to hear. And I wish there was a way for less leaks. And we didn't get a ton of leaks. I thought, I mean, I knew
Ubisoft locking it down so hard, Nintendo leaked it for them. I mean, good on them.
I knew Gearbox was there was a code named Wonderlands. And then Borderlands like tweeted out like 3 days, 2 days. But we didn't know exactly what it was. So it was exciting to see that. Like, even all the game. Even if I had an Xbox, I mean, I have a PC, but I can't run like Starfield. I'm not gonna play all these games anyway, even if I could. There's just so many games that, like, I think anyone who's a gamer had to have at least, between the indies and everything, like 5 to 10 things that, like, you can't tell me like, oh, I didn't like anything. Like, what were you looking for? If you like, there was literally everything from every genre out there. Like, I think it's people who, oh, they better do Breath of the Wild 2 or it's a failure.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be disappointed if you go into every conference like, I want this, like, Microsoft better have Gears of War, and they don't. Oh, it sucked. It's like, yeah, I wanted Final Fantasy VI. I didn't even expect that. Then we got whatever we got, but, like, sure, I was disappointed, but, I mean, I got excited by Guardian. Guardian is like, I was like, oh, this is something I didn't even know I wanted.
Yeah. There's always going to be some disappointments. The thing is, some people just want to have an opinion about something, and they just go because it's social media and they get fired up. Like, for me, Xbox had the best show, but some people were disappointed that Avowed didn't show up. I'm personally concerned for the health and welfare of Senua. Where the fuck is she? Because that was the first game they announced when they revealed the new console and has not been seen since.
Also, cool, one of the coolest reveal trailers ever with that
absolutely
music.
I'm too chicken shit to even play Senua, and I'm a huge fan of that game.
Right. Well, see, I did want to say, like, on to dovetail on the point of people come into this saying, if I don't get this, I remember when I first started podcasting, and this is 7 years ago now. I think 7 years and a week ago, the first episode I was ever a part of went up. There was a person in the community around that show who made it his business to talk about how much, and I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know how. I know he doesn't listen to this, so I don't really care. But I don't know how I'm not gonna try and piss someone off who writes for an outlet, but he was always like, it wasn't just that he was anti shit that I like indie games. I'm not mad at pixel art, but pixel art doesn't turn me away. And sometimes I think it's very, very beautiful. Sometimes I think pixel art can look better than photorealism. It can happen. That's subjective choice. That's art. But this guy was like, I'm so sick of hearing about how good indie games are. No indie game is good. I only want long 25-hour experiences. But then you'd say, now if you get me on RPGs, they're bullshit as well. They don't respect my time. Da, 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 da. And I ultimately land on with this person that there was never going to be anything that satisfied him. And I think in just examining my thoughts on that, I think it's because so many people go in expecting a bigger outlet to say, these are the best things from the recent conference. And usually when they do that, you look at where their focus is. Because I'll bet you if you look at like most of the last 6 games of the year since 2015, a lot of them weren't announced with big fanfare at the E3 a year before. Some of them were. Not going to take that away. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, God of War.
Those are like flagship titles. That's
like that. I mean, sometimes that shit lines up. But it's just like the best-selling album every year doesn't always win the Grammy. Grammys suck.
Hades is a good example.
Yeah.
Hades was nominated for more shit last year at the Game Awards.
Well, look at Dead Cells.
Yeah.
It brought roguelites to the forefront before Hades.
Yeah.
Indie. Nobody knew about that studio.
Celeste was nominated for Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
People are just, and then you have that sect of gamers who just like Tiny Tina's Wonderland was announced, and I saw people, why? Like Borderlands is dead. Like Borderlands 3 sold like garbage. It's like it sold 5 million units. So I don't know what your definition of good.
Well, and I remember in the movie Indie Game the Movie 2, the sequel to it, Tommy Reffins, one of the developers of Super Meat Boy, pointed this out. He's like, people on the internet, you can go on the internet, go onto YouTube, find just a 30-second video of a baby laughing, and it will have millions of likes. But there will be 200 people who dislike it out of like, in comparison to like the millions of folks that have liked it. And those 200 people, just assholes. Like they eat, breathe, walk, talk assholes.
They don't dislike it because they dislike it. They thought it'd be funny to dislike it or something.
Yeah.
Well, fine. But yeah, I mean, gamers.
It's not all about you.
Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fund culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXOD merch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids as El Capitan Rey Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely queen of the guild, always say, #Rise Above. Thank you for listening to Story Route Zero. We hope you have enjoyed your time here as much as we've enjoyed having you. Once again, questions, concerns, complaints, pictures of pets, or favorite recipes can be sent to storyroute0@gmail.com. You can yell at us on Twitter @StoryRoute0. Rate us and review us on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you may have found us, as it helps with discoverability. If you'd like to hit us up individually, you can find Moose Cool @Sven, that's SVHENN on Twitter, PSN, Instagram, and of course Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall writing at obelisk.co. You can also find him on Twitter @GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end, as well as PSN, Instagram, and Twitch. He also has his own website, whereisthepausebutton.com. You can find Michaela Crescione doing all sorts of writing at obelisk.co, as well as on Twitter @RedXMod. My name is Matthew Keel. You can find me everywhere I'd like to be @infinite_rewind. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's PSN, and I also have my own website, infiniterewind.com. Be sure to check us out at all the places. You are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. Thank you for listening, but for now, it's back to the real world for us. So we will see you on the next one.